So Spygate 2.0. I want to talk about this because I honestly believe that this is important to the history and the legacy of the NFL. And me being a Miami Dolphin fan, the first time around, I defended the Patriots. I said, oh, this is no big deal. And the Deflategate, I'm like, oh, it's no big deal. But as this franchise, the New England Patriots, seems to be in somewhat of a decline, and then this happens, you start to scratch your head a little bit and say, is this real? So I wanted to get Big George, Little J's take on Bill Belichick's Spygate 2.0, which is still under investigation. No conclusions have been made just yet, even though a lot of people are saying that there has. It's still up in the air. So, George, what you thinking about this?
I think if they have any kind of evidence on the film, obviously the NFL did get all the film that was supposedly recorded at the practice or the game. And if they see anything on there, they have to come down heavy. The problem is these little slap on the wrist, you're going to keep doing it. You're going to have the same kind of thing with the Houston Astros. These kind of things, they change everything. They change history. They change jobs. They change people getting fired. This is real serious, and they've been already caught once. So what do? Do you say next week you get a loss? I don't know, but they have to do something to make them understand this is not, you can't do this again.
I agree. Jordan?
You think one loss on the record and an extra bye week really is that big of a penalty? I mean, I don't know. I do think they need to throw the book at him. I thought they should have thrown the book at him the first time. They did take away a first-round draft pick with their second major scandal. This is the third. I don't know how much more you can take away from him, but it has to escalate. But I need to see a lot more, because we don't really know that much. We don't know who was involved, and we don't know what's on the tapes. And I think at this point, everybody's expecting New England of cheating, and so they're looking out for anything. So they're going to whistle blow if they see their video production crew almost anywhere at this point. So look at the tapes. If the evidence is there, throw the book at them. If not, I mean, we really have to wait and see. It's too early.
Well, number one is that if it was any other team, this probably wouldn't have been a big deal. But because of the history, there's definitely a microscope on them for this situation. And the question becomes, they're saying that this is for the Do Your Job crew, which is a separate production crew that's not associated with the team. Well, let me ask you a question, or just a logical question. What does the Do Your Job team, why do they need to film the sidelines of the Bengals? And why do they need to get extensive footage on the sideline of the Bengals? What's the reason? There's no reason for that. There's none at all. So when you think of this logically, you start putting it together, you start seeing a lot of smoke, and maybe there's fire, but I don't know. But I think that, the history, the legacy of the NFL is on the line here. There's always we did a video about the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. And, I know for a fact, Don Shula never had any film and was stealing signs from the other coaches and the other teams when he went on his run. And so I don't know. George, further thoughts?
Yeah, if we have a legit third scandal here, if this is a legit third scandal, or if another one comes out, I think the only thing they can do, or the most suitable thing, would say that Belichick can't go to the Hall of Fame. Give it Pete Rose him. I mean, really, at this point.
that does nothing for any that hurts nobody but Belichick.
Yeah. Well,
there would be other penalties as well, but I put this on the head coach. I put all of them on the head coach.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when you listen to his interview, there was plausible deniability there. He said, well, I don't have anything to do with that crew. I don't have to do with anything of that. But if somebody, that crew goes to somebody on the staff, they give that staff information, then they pass it over, which is what was said to happen before. When you have plausible deniability, but you still use the information, right? And so, once again, can't block anybody, one wide receiver, can't run the ball, losing games at home. Then a film crew shows up, and you didn't tell the NFL.
Games at home? One game in the last 22 is losing games at home?
It's the last one.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, I think everybody is really quick to say dynasty's over on New England. I've heard it before, and they've won Super Bowls since. So
Well,
it might. I
screaming it last year.
but
I was screaming it last year. It was over, and they won it again. So
I was never one of those, but how they're losing these games, they aren't able to move the ball. They've won these games. The last, I think, couple wins have been with special teams and defense scoring and doing some pretty miraculous things that you can win that way. But against some of the teams that they're facing right now, Kansas City, Baltimore, and even Buffalo, I think to a certain extent, you're not going to be able to win games like that. You're going to have to move the ball and you're going to have to score points. And they haven't been able to do it.
right.
I mean,
But
their offenses look terrible and everybody's waiting like, oh, they're going to fix it. You can't fix a lack of talent at the wide receiver position. They can't get separation. Everybody's doubling Julian Edelman and they can't get any separation. They can't
this
get
year,
open.
but we're talking about a dynasty. We're assuming Tom Brady's going to retire at the end of the year because he sold his house or whatnot, and his trainer did.
He did.
Whereas he said he was going to play till 45. It's not the end of the dynasty if they go out, they lose in the playoffs this year. They tool up over the offseason, add Odell Beckham Jr. and a couple other people, and he makes a run.
He ain't going to play to 45 with that offensive line. Hell no. He's going to get hurt.
Offseason.
I mean, a crucial part of the game last week that they lost, and they lost that game, he had to run a little bit just for them to stay interesting in the game. He's not going to he can't do that.
I actually started feeling bad for him in that game. He was getting so little help.
When's the last time you felt bad for Tom Brady?
Almost
The
never.
problem is you feeling bad for Tom Brady. That's the problem.
Maybe the first half of that Falcons Super Bowl game, I'm like, poor guy.
Poor guy, yeah. Hottest wife in the world, millions and millions of dollars, has too many Super Bowl rings to fit on one hand. Poor guy.
I don't feel sorry for him at all. Not at all.
I don't want to see New England win another Super Bowl for the next 25 years. I want them to go back to 70s and when they just lost every damn week. I really want to see them something happen major and then make an example out of them in the NFL. You can't keep cheating. You can't keep pushing the limits. Something has to happen.
And I mean, at some point, it has to matter, right? And you know, it has to. And at some point, you can't smack them on the wrist if they get caught again. There has to be something that is done that not only, you know, hurts them for this year, but hurts them for their legacy. Because if this was happening over and over again, I'm sorry, but the difference between winning and losing in the NFL is very little. It's those minute details. It's just the little details that matter. Right?
Like knowing their place.
It's those little details. And when people say to me, oh, well, they're not going to cheat to beat the Bengals. They don't need to. Well, they're not understanding the mentality of a killer. No, the killer doesn't care who the opponent is. They're going to try to find any and all advantages against them. You don't win 6 Super Bowls. You don't win 6 Super Bowls by underestimating your opponent and going, oh, we don't need to do this because they've only won. No. You don't do it that way. And so to me, I'll you know, what I said in the beginning was, you know, desperation is equal to expectation. And what that means is very simple, is that if they are expecting to go deep and win a Super Bowl and they know that every game is important to that home field advantage and everything that goes with that, you think that they're not going to try to find an advantage against even Cincinnati? If you think that, you don't understand the mentality of a killer. And a killer doesn't care who they're killing. They don't care if they're weak. They're going to look for everything they can to get an advantage. 6 Super Bowls. You don't get 6 Super Bowls by playing nice. You don't, right? Those guys will look for any and all things to win. All right, that's going to do it. You guys have a great day. We'll be back and see y'all soon.